it's the 18th of May today, and it's the morning, and actually it's stopped raining. We started with drizzle this morning first thing, and then it absolutely tipped it down, and then it sort of eased off a bit, and at the moment we seem to have a little bit of a lull. How long that lull in the rain is going to last, I don't know. But I've managed to sneak out of the house and down to the greenhouse, and I'm going to do some potting up of some flowers that I sowed, lots of different flowers that I've sowed, and I'm going to pot them up into 3-inch pots. I'm not going to pot them up, most of them I won't pot up individually, because that would just take forever and a day. Some of them I'm going to pot up in small clumps. I've got aqualegias here, I've got alyssum, I've got some delphiniums, I've got lupins, I've got some cosmos, some candy tuft, I've got a cottage garden mix, and I've got some armeria. Some of those, as I say, I will pot up into individual pots, but others I will pot up in little clumps. But let me show you how to do that. Now I'm going to start off with these are the aqualegias, and these are the alyssum. I'm going to pot these up into little clumps, and I'm going to do them exactly the same, which is why I'm going to show you them both together. Now all you need to do is to get a 3-inch pot and fill your 3-inch pot with some multi-purpose compost. And then we'll start with the aqualegias first. They've done really well. They're very tactile plants. They're beautiful. I actually have some in the garden anyway, and they come up really tall every year. So they're perennials, which means that they'll die back, and then they'll come back every year and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And they will actually self-seed themselves. So it's really pretty. I have got some others actually outside. I'll just go and get them to show you. Right, these are actually some aqualegias that I've got that have actually self-seeded themselves in a little bit of soil down by the shed door. It's a concrete base, but there's a little bit of soil that's fallen on there, and they've just seeded themselves, and they're growing absolutely beautifully. Now these do come up every year. The flowers are just adorable. They do come in all sorts of different colours, but they're just so delicate and so beautiful, and these will flower all the way through the summer. They don't need much to make them grow. They will really grow anywhere, as you see that they're growing in a little bit of soil right by my shed. Right, so back to the ones in the greenhouse. Now I'm not going to prick these out individually because it would just take so long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prick out tiny little clumps and place them in the 3-inch pots. So let's see if, I wonder if, oh look, the whole lot will come out. That's very handy, the fact that the whole lot will come out. If I carefully turn it upside down, you can see all the roots all in the compost like that. Now the fact that they've actually come up together is much easier, because it just means that I can very carefully tear off tiny little chunks. And there must be 1, 2, 3, 4, there's about 4 or 5 plants in that little chunk there. You don't want any more than about 6 little plants in each chunk. Okay, so make a hole in the compost. Okay, it doesn't need to be particularly deep, because these need to go in roughly the same depth that they were in the compost here, not like vegetables that need to go down a little bit further. So pop it in, and then just gently move the compost round it just to fill in that hole. And there's that one done. Oh look, one's just left. Let's just pop that in. That's one done. So I'll carry on, and when I've done a tray of these, I'll show you. Right, so I've actually got 2 trays full. I've got 9 in that one and 8 in that one. Don't worry if you come across some little seedlings that are really, really small. Make sure that you pot those up as well, because they're in little clumps and they will grow. The reason I am transplanting them into little clumps is that that's how they grow out in the garden. They'll grow in clumps, so you might as well start them off this way. Plus it doesn't take quite as long. If you've got to prick out all of those, you'd be here forever. Now once you've got them in the 3-inch pots, all you need to do then is to give them a water, and again water from the bottom, and let the water soak up through the compost, and again it will encourage the roots to go down. Now that's the Aquilegias. I'm going to do exactly the same now with the Alyssum. Right, well there's the Alyssum. I've actually put them in slightly bigger bunches because I do tend to find that Alyssum will actually get a bit sort of leggy and spindly, and I just personally find that if you get more bunched together, that it looks less spindly, if that makes any sense. And again, just like the Aquilegias, water once you've planted them, water from the bottom. Now I'm not putting as much water in those just because the compost that they were in was really quite wet anyway, and I don't want to over water them. You shouldn't overwater plants because that's just as bad as underwatering. Okay, so that's 2 done, and now I'll move on to the lupins. Right, now these are the lupins. Some of the leaves have actually started to die because I should have got these in a lot sooner, but as I say, I've just been so busy doing all sorts of stuff. But I'll do them now. Now these need to be planted in individual 3-inch pots, one plant per pot. Okay, so just get your 3-inch pot, fill it with compost, and then use whatever implement you wish to get out your seedling. Actually, I'm wondering if all of these will come out together. Oh, they will. Look at that. Oh, fabulous. So much easier when they all come out together. Now, there they are. And underneath there, you can see all those wonderful roots. There are so many there. As I say, they should have come out. I should have potted these up at least 2 weeks ago, but I've just not had time. So very, very carefully, just loosen them. They should come apart quite easily. Okay, I'm going to go for this one here. Okay, get all its roots. If you rip a couple of roots, don't worry, it doesn't matter. Okay, but be very, very gentle with them. Oh my goodness, it's stuck. Oh, there it is. Gosh, that's a long one. Okay, so there's my 3-inch pot, and there's my seedling with its huge long root down there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a nice hole in the middle as far down as possible, and I'm going to lower this with a little bit of an aid into the hole, and then just fill the compost round just like that. So I've got quite a few of the lupins to do, so I'll do those, and when I'm done I'll show you them. Right, and there are my lupins. I've actually got 10 there. Some of them were a little bit small and just didn't look like that they were going to develop in time, so I've actually got rid of those ones. So these were the nice strong ones, and all I need to do now is to give these a water. I'll keep all of these flowers that I've sown or potted up into 3-inch pots all in the greenhouse for at least another couple of weeks until they're big enough to be able to go outside. But then next I'm going to show you the Armeria. Now here are the Delphiniums, and here are the Armeria. The Delphiniums haven't come up as well as I was hoping. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe I just sowed them too early, and it did get very cold, so maybe that's why they didn't like it. I'm not quite sure, but I've got some there. So I'm going to pot the delphiniums up into individual 3-inch pots, and I'm going to also pot the armeria up into individual 3-inch pots. Right, well, at the end there I've got 4 delphiniums. I've planted those individually into 3-inch pots. Here I've only got 1 Alstroemeria. I'm not quite sure what happened to the rest of them. More were coming through, but they decided that they wouldn't grow anymore. This is cottage garden mix. Now there's lots of different flowers in here. These look like chrysanthemums actually in here, and there are lots of other ones as well. Now if you are doing a cottage garden mix, when you plant them up into 3-inch pots, it's good to do them in little clumps of mixed flowers, because that's how a cottage garden would grow. You'd get lots of different flowers together, so that's why I've put those in little groups. Here we've got some armeria, they're doing really well. Then we've got some cosmos here, which I've potted up individually. Cosmos actually grow very, very tall. They can go to about 2-3 feet tall. The flowers are all sorts of different colours depending on what variety you get, which is why I've sown these in individual 1 seedling per pot. And then on the end here I've got some candy tuft. The candy tuft likes to be sort of, I prefer them bushy, so I've put either 2 or 3 seedlings in each 3-inch pot, so that when I put them outside they look nicer when there's a couple of them growing closer together. So all I'll do now is I'll give all of these a lovely water from the bottom. And just keep an eye on them. They're very tasty and tempting for slugs and snails, so do keep an eye on them. If you want to put some protection round for the slugs and snails, then please feel free. These will now stay in the greenhouse for at least 3-4 weeks until I put them outside. I'm not going to put them outside until frost has gone in my area, which will definitely be the beginning of June. However, if they were bigger, then I would put them out before, because I have looked at the weather and it looks like we won't get any more frost, but they're just too small to put out into the ground. They'd get overtaken by all the other plants that are already out there, so I just want to make sure that they're bigger and a lot more substantial before I do that. Right, well that's that for all the flowers so far. The only other flowers I've got left to pot up into 3-inch pots are sunflowers, but I'll do those in a couple of days' time. They're down the bottom here. They are ready to go up into 3-inch pots, but not this morning. I'm now quite hungry, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to go and have some lunch, and then hopefully, if the weather stays nice, I can come back out into the greenhouse. It's rained so much this morning. I'm not even going to attempt to go down the allotment because it's supposed to rain later on, so I'll come back out and hopefully I won't get absolutely soaked. They have said we're supposed to get thunder, so we'll soon see about that. Well, I hope you found what I've shown you useful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.